He was labeled as an extremely dangerous terrorist on the FBI's most wanted list. Yet, for 21 years, this criminal remained at large until his recent arrest. But how did this man manage to avoid the long arm of the law for so long? Let's dive deep into the murky depths of his criminal mind. In October of 2001, a series of explosions occurred at several sites around the San Francisco Bay Area, including a commuter train, a car, and 2 separate buildings. Although no one was killed or injured, it was clear that these weren't just random acts of vandalism. This was the work of a methodical bomber. The culprit behind these attacks was none other than David Colin Crofts, a former software engineer. But what drove him to commit such heinous acts? Crofts' initial targets were not political figures or major corporations. His first victim was a transit police inspector named Thomas B. Evslin, whom he selected randomly. As Evans parked his police car on the street and walked to his apartment, he was fatally shot by Croft. Not satisfied with his first kill, Croft embarked on a bombing spree targeting the Yahoo headquarters in Sunnyvale, a transit hub in Oakland, and the lobby of another technology company in Foster City. He also attempted to bomb a third building in Foster City, but his device failed to explode. What makes this all the more terrifying is that Croft had been planning these attacks for years, even going as far as to conduct surveillance on potential targets. He carefully observed their security measures, parking patterns, and office layouts. Furthermore, he had amassed a stockpile of weapons and explosives, ensuring that he would cause as much damage as possible. But why did he choose these particular targets? As it turns out, Croft harbored deep resentment towards technology companies, believing that they were exploiting consumers. He specifically targeted Yahoo because he felt that the company was violating users' privacy by collecting personal information without their consent. His motive for attacking the other buildings was simply to cause as much destruction and chaos as he possibly could. Clearly, Crofts was a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. But what set him off? After his arrest, it was revealed that Crofts suffered from paranoid schizophrenia. This mental illness caused him to perceive the world around him in a distorted way, leading him to believe that he was being persecuted by powerful forces. Croft's delusions were so intense that he believed the only way to protect himself was to lash out and attack those he perceived as his enemies. However, in spite of his mental illness, Croft was able to maintain a fairly normal life for several years. He held down a job as a computer programmer and was even married. However, things took a dark turn when he began to experience symptoms of his illness. He started hearing voices and seeing things that weren't there. As his mental state deteriorated, he became increasingly isolated and paranoid. Eventually, he was fired from his job and his wife left him, which caused his condition to worsen. Croft became convinced that his former employer and wife had conspired against him, and that they were part of a larger conspiracy to persecute him. Unable to cope with the voices in his head, Croft decided to take drastic action. When the authorities caught up with him, he barricaded himself inside his home and refused to come out. After a 3-day standoff, police used tear gas to finally flush him out. Once in custody, Croft was charged with murder and 5 counts of attempted murder. However, he was found not guilty by reason of insanity and sentenced to 25 years of treatment at a psychiatric hospital. But, while awaiting trial for the attacks in San Francisco, Croft committed another crime. In June of 2002, just months after the bombings, Croft pulled off a daring heist in Los Angeles County, stealing about $1 million worth of computer equipment from an electronics distributor. This crime added another layer of complexity to his already convoluted case. As the years passed, Croft's lawyers argued that he should be released from the psychiatric hospital because he had made significant progress and was no longer a danger to society. However, prosecutors argued that Croft was still too dangerous to be released and that he had not shown remorse for his crimes. Ultimately, the courts agreed with the prosecutors, and Croft remained incarcerated. In the meantime, the FBI launched a massive manhunt to find Croft, but he had vanished without a trace. Agents pursued every lead, but it seemed as though he had evaporated into thin air. Even after 20 years, the FBI never gave up on finding Croft. They continued to follow up on leads and interview people who may have had information about his whereabouts. But each time they got close, Croft seemed to slip through their fingers. What makes this case particularly baffling is that there were numerous sightings of Croft over the years, but none of them led to his capture. Some people claimed to have seen him in Mexico, while others reported sightings in Canada and Europe. There were even reports that Croft had been spotted in the United States, living under a false identity. However, despite all these sightings, Croft managed to evade the authorities. For years, the FBI had very few leads in the case, and it seemed as though Croft would never be caught. However, in 2021, a break in the case occurred when an anonymous tipster provided the FBI with information that led them to a small town in northern Wales. Acting on this tip, the FBI worked with the local police to search a remote cottage in the area, and what they found was beyond their wildest imaginations. The FBI had finally tracked down David Colin Cross after an incredible 20-year manhunt. When asked about the possibility of Cross's arrest, FBI Special Agent in Charge Richard D. Mills said, "We are pursuing every single lead, no matter how small." The dedication of the FBI agents in this case has been nothing short of remarkable. They pursued every lead relentlessly, no matter how small or insignificant it may seem. Their hard work and determination paid off when they finally located Cross and brought him to justice. Even more surprising is the fact that Cross was able to evade the authorities for so long. He managed to stay off the grid and avoid detection despite numerous sightings. It was as if he had the ability to anticipate the moves of the FBI and always stay one step ahead of them. But now, it seems like Cross's luck has finally run out. But how did the FBI eventually catch up with him? Cross was arrested in a remote cottage in North Wales after living there for many years under the false identity of Daniel Webb. It was unclear how he had managed to elude authorities for so long, but it appears that he had successfully integrated into the local community and had even started a new business. According to reports, Cross had been working as an independent computer consultant and was well respected in the community. It's also reported that he was active in local politics and had even served on the board of a local charity. The question is, how did the FBI finally track him down? One theory is that Cross may have inadvertently given away his location by using his real name online or in some other public record. It's also possible that someone may have recognized him and contacted the authorities. Whatever the case may be, Cross's arrest brings an end to a 21-year manhunt. David Alan Cross's case is a reminder that criminals can often go undetected for years, even when there are numerous sightings. With the help of modern technology and investigative techniques, the FBI was finally able to track him down and bring him to justice. Despite his successful escape and years on the run, Cross's criminal past ultimately caught up with him, and he now faces extradition to the U.S. to face charges. The news of Cross's arrest has been met with mixed reactions. Some people are celebrating the fact that justice has finally been served, while others are questioning how he managed to stay on the run for so long. Whatever the case may be, there's no doubt that Cross's arrest is a major victory for law enforcement. After 2 decades on the run, the hunt is finally over. The question remains, how will Cross's criminal trial play out? Will he be convicted for his crimes, or will he continue to elude justice? Only time will tell. What do you think about the ingenuity and skills needed to stay hidden for 21 years? Feel free to share your thoughts below. Thank you for watching and subscribing.